Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Savannah and I'm really excited because today is a completely different kind of video for me. I'm going to be doing kind of like a commentary style slash like informative, I don't really know like what to call them, opinions, and then some of them are just facts. So it's kind of like a mixture of all these different things, but today it is going to be on the many phases of Taylor Swift's career. So it's kind of overwhelming in the sense that she has, I believe, 7 like main albums, not including like any Christmas albums or anything like that. She's been creating music in the scene since 2006, which is a very long time ago. That was literally 14 years ago, and I have loved her the entire time. So I did have to do a little bit of research. I did phone a friend for this because I did a crap ton of research and also just like looking into specific dates and whatnot, and I asked one of my friends, Katie Yelton, Miss Katie Van. She is a huge Taylor Swift stan as well as I, and I knew that she would be able to help me out with anything that I forgot and just like help maybe like give me a little bit more information on something that maybe I've forgotten. It's a lot of albums, that's a lot of drama, that's a lot of boyfriends, that's a lot of everything. Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail of absolutely everything ever to happen in her career, or else we would literally be here all day and this video would be like 5 hours long. So starting off with Miss Taylor Swift, her full name was Taylor Allison Swift. She was born to Scott and Angela Swift on December 13th of 1989, and then she also has a brother named Austin. So the entire story, I'm not going to go super in depth into like her childhood and whatnot, because if I completely tell her entire life story, I think I'd be here all day. But the thing that makes Taylor Swift stand out so much as far as the start of her career, she was only 14 years old whenever she signed to Sony, which makes her the youngest person ever to sign with Sony so far. And she began the entire process of creating her album, which was the very first one that we get to, starting off with Taylor Swift Made Public in 2006. So this entire album was very heavily focused in country, and that was like her scene. Okay, if she was not singing country music, then she was not singing. Okay, that was the thing, that was her little niche. She really did not kind of go off of anything else other than that at the time. She was doing really well starting off. This is whenever she had the white dress, she was in the creek, she had the most beautiful curly hair I have ever seen in my entire life, and I had curly hair, but of course I was just like, oh my god, hers is so beautiful. So this was her debut album. This was pretty much where she started off creating music. This is her Tim McGraw phase, her Teardrops on My Guitar. This is everything pretty much that is kind of getting her started off. And anybody who knows Taylor Swift literally from the get-go, this was a very good album. Like if you did not like her from the get-go, like this might not be your absolute favorite. This was her Tim McGraw, Our Song, Teardrops on My Guitar, literally everything. And this is a reference, I am now 21 years old. I was 7 years old at the time. So she had me and all of us thinking that her crush literally like in elementary school was breaking our hearts, and we were shook. So yeah, she did a really good job with kind of portraying this entire idea, and like she really made you feel super relatable. Even though maybe you could not exactly relate to it, she definitely did a really good job with kind of portraying that narrative in that sense. She was really like writing these songs about these boys, and that was her thing. Like she killed it. She was only 16 years old at the time that she released her first album, which is absolutely insane. I cannot even imagine being 16 and being anywhere slightly productive. But she sure as heck was doing it. What she was so good at was portraying love in both a positive light, but also a like, I'm heartbroken, I'm not doing well, this is teenage love, this is not like grown-up love, but these are feelings that I'm still feeling, you know. Like she did an excellent job with portraying like those like first few relationships that kind of everybody goes through. It was very sweet and innocent and just like innocent love. Though only at the time, she was only 18 years old whenever she released Fearless. So this is kind of where everything starts to kind of get a little crazy. She really didn't have any drama or any beef or anything like that with anybody literally ever before all this started to happen. So if you are following along, she released this album in 2008, but in 2009, this is whenever she was nominated for Music Video of the Year for the MTV Music Awards. Okay, we all remember this. She goes and accepts the award. She's literally baffled. She's so freaking happy. That music video was amazing. Like, if you did not watch that music video like 5 times in a day at that age, I don't know what you were doing, sis. You were probably being a lot more productive than I was, but you know, it's whatever. But she goes on stage, accepts the award. Kanye West has the audacity to humiliate her in front of national television by stating that, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had the best music video for that year. So basically he has the audacity to come up and say, yeah, yours might technically be winning, but I'm gonna tell you who really should have won, and it was Miss Beyonce. So not only was she super embarrassed, but she also felt like crap, because you have the people that were like, yes, of course, somebody finally understands, like Beyonce, da 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 da, like she deserved to win. But then you also have the Taylor stans that were like, what the heck? The music video was the most relatable / not relatable thing, because in what world are you literally living right next door to your high school crush? Like, please explain. Like, I want to know if that ever happened to anybody. This was during her phase of love story, all this kind of stuff. She was still super saturated in the entire country theme. She was not really seen as a pop like vocalist or anything like that. She was still heavily focused on country. She was doing it, and she was doing it really well. Oh, also, I have to mention this. So during the time of Fearless, Miss Taylor Swift was dating none other than Joe Jonas, okay? I have to mention this because I feel like this is super important, because Forever and Always is speculated to be written about Mr. Joe Jonas, because they were dating at the time, and he ended up calling her, breaking up with her in the matter of a 28-second phone call. So this is whenever everybody who was also a Joe Jonas fan, or the Joe Bros fans, but they were also Taylor Swift fans, they were very conflicted, because they were like, crap, do we support Joe and do we still love Taylor? Like, a lot of people were like, I don't know what to do. As a result of the Kanye drama, we all thought that he was going to just apologize and call it a day, but clearly we can see that it didn't work. Nothing worked in this situation. So now we get into Speak Now, which was still very like country heavy, but this is where we get into the Dear John phase, the Back to December, the relationships. This is whenever she really started popping off, and she was kind of like in her sad phase. So she really wasn't like, she did definitely have like some sadder songs like on her previous albums, but this is kind of where she really starts to kind of not play the sad role, but she definitely, this is where I feel like a lot of people say that she plays the victim card a lot, because a lot of times like, oh, this is like, this sucks, da 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 da. Like, even if she decided to leave the relationship, a lot of people claim that she plays the victim card. I don't know. I mean, I feel like she probably has before, but I mean, you know, we all have to keep in mind that she's only 20 years old whenever like Speak Now comes out. So she has released 3 albums before the age of 20 years old. Like, that's literally insane. Like, you can't even drink alcohol legally, but you are over here popping off and literally changing everything in the music community. And a lot of people, like, this is pretty much, Dear John was pretty much the time whenever she was speaking about the relationship that she had with John Mayer. like they're both singers, so I feel like they both probably have songs written about each other. It only kind of makes sense. That seems to definitely be the case with most of these, like, I'm a singer, you're a singer, okay, well, we're both gonna write songs about you. That's just like kind of how it works. In my opinion, a lot of people do not talk about Last Kiss, which in my opinion, that is the Speak Now version of All Too Well. Like, people do not give that song the credit. Last Kiss walked so All Too Well could run and flourish the way that it did, in my humble opinion. So now in 2012, we see Red is released. Now, this album is arguably one of the best that she has ever created, because this is whenever we start to see the combination of pop and her traditional old country. Like, we see those two worlds combined, but she has some songs that are still very much country and whatnot. Like All Too Well, this is the time of All Too Well. If you are a Taylor Swift fan, you know about All Too Well, and you know that that is one of the most gut-wrenching yet amazing songs literally of all time. If you can listen to All Too Well without crying, I need to know your therapist. Like, put them in the, like, comment, girl, like, please, because this is arguably one of her best songs that she has ever written, and a lot of Taylor Swift fans know her for this song. Like, this was the definition of relatability at the time, because like, it was just, you knew, like, it was an unhealthy relationship, and if you've ever like gone through a breakup or anything like that, you could relate to this song. Even if you hadn't gone through a breakup and you were just ignorant and young and all this kind of stuff, you related to this song. Like, that's just how it was. So this is also whenever her phase of the straight hair comes in. She had bangs, and she also had the red lips. Okay, this is the time whenever everybody was chopping off their bangs at home by themselves without their mother's permission, because Taylor Swift also had bangs at the time. Now, during her curly hair phase, everybody was getting those curling irons that were like that big, and were curling their hair and frying it to oblivion because they wanted to look like Taylor Swift, because who doesn't want to look like her? Also, 22 will forever be an Instagram caption, period. Like, it will forever be a thing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I have to just add this in because I have to throw in my opinion a little bit here too. Begin Again did not get the hype that it deserved. Everybody was freaking out about All Too Well and 22, and like, those songs were good, but Begin Again is like, it's, I don't know, it was like the happiness in the sad world of Speak Now, because that, not Speak Now, in Red, because I feel like Red was like, this is whenever I knew you were trouble comes into play. Like, we've all seen the goat meme, I don't know how many times. Like, if we knew what that song was gonna be and how much it was going to be used over and over and over in the meme world, girl, it was a lot. It was a lot. So in this entire idea of switching up the entire pop / country, she really starts opening up her entire career to something new besides just country, because not only was she doing country, she was doing it extremely well. She was making herself a name even in the pop world. Though she was not completely there yet, she was known by just about anybody. She was making a name for herself solely just off of her creativity, her songs, and she was killing the game at the time. 2 years later, in 2014, we get 1989, which a lot of people have mixed opinions about, which I genuinely don't understand, because it's just a continuation of Red. This is whenever Blank Space was killing the game. This was on the radio like pretty much every day for about few months, because this was the definition of her feeding into and kind of living off of the idea that she dated too much at the time. And this was a big screw you to everybody who was saying, you know what, you date too much. She was like, oh well, I'll just whip out a little Blank Space moment and I'll just kind of thrive for a second, because the entire narrative that she had way too many relationships is tired. Like, and that her entire narrative that she was dating way too many people. Listen, she was dating just like everybody else was. Everybody in the music industry dates people, period. Everybody dates people, period, no matter what. So this is whenever everybody kind of starts pointing fingers at her and is like, yeah, you dated way too many people and you need to slow your roll, because literally every time you date somebody, you have to write a song about them, which plain and simple is just not the case. Yes, she dated people. Okay, women are allowed to date people. You are allowed to date people. But just so happens that whenever Miss Taylor Swift writes a song about a previous relationship, that she suddenly is this crazy girlfriend narrative and she dates way too many people, da 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 da. Whenever, even anywhere from the spectrum of like folk music to like rap music, it does not matter. People are still writing about their relationships. So I'm really sick and tired of hearing that narrative that she has dated way too many people. She does nothing but write about her relationships. You know what? She wrote about those relationships in a way that helped her cope. And it was almost like a healing type of like portrayal, if that makes any sense. So I really don't understand that narrative. It's very old and it's very tired, and I feel like all Taylor stans are like, listen, y'all just need to shut up, because she's really not dated that many people, especially considering the fame aspect, in the sense of like, she's famous. A lot of people that are in the world of fame have dated everybody. Shake It Off was also a huge bop at the time, as well as Bad Blood. This is whenever we see her. She did a remix also with Kendrick Lamar, which was, again, huge, because she had never really collabed with like a rapper or anything like that ever before. So this is kind of really big, and it's like, yep, I'm definitely throwing in the pop. This is whenever we see her kind of fully submerged into pop and that entire world. So we see a lot more like upbeat, da da da. Like, it's not nearly as much country as we were seeing before. Country in this time for her was pretty much gone. She really wasn't doing much in that world, in that spectrum, compared to literally just a couple albums ago where it was fully saturated in country. Also, I know that we are kind of talking about some relationships. I'm not going to sit here and talk about every single relationship she's ever been in, but I am going to state that during the time of 1989, a lot of the songs that she wrote were specifically about the relationship that she had with Mr. Harry Styles, okay? If you are a die-hard Taylor fan, you know that this is like, if you are a 1D fan as well as a Taylor fan at the same time, you were literally thriving, okay? You were like, oh my god, yes. Like, I still don't even want to think about the fact that they've broken up, because I don't know who broke up with who. But if I know that if I was dating Mr. Harry Styles and the relationship ended, I don't think I would be okay. I think somebody would need to put me somewhere where I would just need to be condemned for a little bit, and I would not be doing very well. But you know, so after the 1989 period, this was in 2014. In 2015, literally 6 years after the entire Kanye drama, we see them take a picture together at, which it was at the 2015 Grammys. So this is leaps and bounds progress, because they both had spoke about each other in interviews and whatnot, and yes, Kanye did technically apologize. Now, you think that everything is all good because they've taken this picture together in 2015, they seem happy, everybody seems like they've gotten over it. Nay, because in 2016, The Life of Pablo, which is Kanye's album, releases. And in this album is the song Famous. Now, if you know anything, if you are a Kanye West fan, if you're not, even if you're just a Taylor Swift fan, you've never listened to Kanye before, you now know who Kanye is. Because if you've listened to this song, the exact lyric, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex, I made that famous. Okay, he really goes in, and during this time of him writing this song, there is a phone call where he allegedly asks Taylor if he can talk about her in this song, and there goes this back and forth narrative of, can I say this lyric in my song? And she's like, no, like, I was not okay with that. He never really asked her if he can specifically say that line, and she really was not down for it from the get-go. She was like, I'm not really gonna feed into that because that goes back on literally everything. I don't understand the lyric. I know it's just because the entire song is like famous, like he has made people famous, or that he thinks that he has made people famous. Kanye West is crazy, okay? We all know this. This is not a secret. He made some really bold statements in the past saying that slavery was a choice. I'm not gonna get started on that, but he is now a renowned Christian, which is great. We stand. Like, that's awesome that he has found some stability in his life and that he is kind of getting into something that's a little bit healthier, but he has had a lot of problems in the past. And then also he is married to Kim Kardashian. So the man, I'm sure he's exhausted, okay? I'm sure he is sick and tired of the Kardashian Jenner being associated with them. We're not gonna make this a huge Kardashian Jenner rant. Taylor, literally the next day after this album is released, she comes up with a statement that she did not approve of this lyric and that she was not okay with it. She never wanted this to be a thing, but he just kind of went ahead and did it anyways, regardless of her opinion. The statement that Kanye did not call her for approval, but he did ask Taylor about releasing a single, and she denied and never approved the lyric. We all think that he's over this at this point. They're all living their best lives, but no, Kanye has to be shady and go in on Miss Taylor Swift. Now, we are like, okay, whatever, like, we can kind of get over this. He was really sketchy. He added her in to this lyric, and it's really shady. Not the best look for him. Well, it gets worse, okay? Just as all of this would get worse. In 2016, later that year, Kim gets involved, and she starts dragging out these receipts and insists that Taylor knew about Famous the entire time. During this time, the Famous music video is released. Now, if you have not watched this music video, I do not recommend you doing so. It is very disturbing. It is very creepy. There are mannequins, naked mannequins laying everywhere. It is Kim and Kanye in a bed, and they are all naked. It is mannequins, and there is a Taylor mannequin in the music video, which is A, very disturbing, B, she didn't give him permission to do that, and it's just very suggestive. It's very gross, and again, sexualizing her whenever she really wasn't okay with that. Like, I mean, this would not be that big of a deal if he went to her, asked for her opinion. Like, this would not be that big of a deal if he were to have just come to her like an adult, asked for her opinion, she said no, and he just respects it. Apparently that's way too much for him to do, so he never asked for her opinion. He just keeps going, and it's shade, shade, shade. If we know anything about the Kardashians, they are shady people, and they can't keep their mouth shut. So Miss Kim goes into the whole narrative and gets her fans to attack Miss Taylor Swift, and they are referring to her as a snake. And I believe it's the Met Gala where she attends. Her entire comment section is the snake emoji, because they are claiming that Taylor lied, and she gets her hundreds of millions of fans to attack Miss Taylor Swift because apparently she lied whenever she never lied from the get-go. It was Kim and Kanye lying. and that's just how it is. This is whenever Miss Taylor Swift releases in August of 2017. She releases the single Look What You Made Me Do, which is very suggestive as to the Kim and Kanye drama, and then later that year she releases the Reputation album. I have to mention this because I feel like a lot of people fail to kind of realize this, but in Reputation she slowly but surely kind of starts dipping her toes into the idea of allowing for a little bit more of a scandalous kind of viewpoint. So in Dress and I Did Something Bad, she really starts to kind of play on the idea of kind of being a little bit more suggestive. And if we know Miss Taylor Swift, that is very much not her traditional kind of style. Like, she's very much like, oh, lovey-dovey, like very sweet and all that kind of stuff. But this is whenever she kind of starts to be a little bit more suggestive. Like, if you listen to the lyrics of Dress and I Did Something Bad, you can just tell like that's just what she does now. Like, she slowly but surely kind of starts to introduce this entire idea, and she carries that into Lover, which is what we're going to get into next. Lover, this was apparently like the entire album is just an entire breath of fresh air compared to Reputation. Reputation was very kind of nasty and angry and all this kind of stuff, and Lover is just a breath of fresh air. It's almost like her healing from all that, inspired by her relationship with Joe Alwyn, which they have been together since 2016. So they've been together for about 4 years now. They've been together for quite a bit, and a lot of the songs are about him and like their happy relationship. She becomes a lot more political in her songs, which is, again, she's branching out into this. If you've watched New Americana, the Netflix special, you can see her really start to kind of get into that. And You Need to Calm Down, it is all about the LGBTQ community. She has the entire cast of Queer Eye in her music video, and also with drag queens are in there as well, which is, I believe it's like Adora Delano. She is one of the drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race. She plays as Katy Perry, and it's just like she does such a good job of being inclusive, and it's basically just like a big screw you to everybody still being homophobic. Like, she really just kind of allows for inclusivity, which is why she is really starting to kind of grow. Like, she's becoming super political, but in a good way. Like, it's in a sense of she's not being like da-da-da, like just barking on it all the time, but she definitely puts her voice out there, and I feel like that's what's making her a lot, like, stand out a lot more. I'm struggling to talk while I put my lashes on, but I'm still gonna try and do it. So during this time of Lover, this is whenever we see the I Forgot You Existed. Like, it's just like, screw anything that's happened in the past, I'm living my best. Me is just like the breath of fresh air. Like, it is whenever she sings, I can't remember the guy's name, but he is from, oh my gosh, what is that band called? I'm having a moment. She really just kind of makes it a breath of fresh air, and she's super happy. It's just like the most upbeat and positive song. The entire music video of itself is just like pure and utter bliss. Like, it's super happy and very cheery, and she just seems like to be in a lot better of a headspace. Lover, the wedding song for the next like 10 years. That is going to be in everybody's wedding, probably also mine, during this time, because it is such a sweet and pure happy song. And then Shawn Mendes also did a remix with her as well during this time. With her newest music video, The Man, I have to at least touch on this because this was 110% inspired by the entire situation with Scooter Braun and Big Machine label group. So this is whenever this all starts. In June of 2019, Scooter Braun acquires the Big Machine label label group from Scott Borchetta. I think that's his name. I definitely could be pronouncing that wrong, and if I am, I do apologize. But he acquires the label. Now, this is the label that Taylor is associated with, and she has been signed with them for the past 13 years. Scooter acquires this entire record label that Taylor has been signed to for the past 13 years, and in November of 2018, this is whenever her 13-year contract with them ends, and so she needs to be signed with somebody else. Well, this is whenever she, okay, I'm struggling. Hold on, give me a second. During this time, this is whenever she signs with Republic Records. Scooter and Taylor do not have a good past, and I did not know this beforehand, but allegedly during the entire time of the Kim and Kanye drama, he was in on this, and he was trying to help ruin her career. So obviously this is not very good for Taylor that this creepy dude is trying, the same dude that tried to destroy her career literally a couple years ago, is now the owner of the company that has been backing her and has all 6 of her albums on there. So during this time, this is whenever the entire debacle with they're trying to figure out all 6 of her records or her albums are signed with Big Machine label. Now, this is whenever they try to, so during this time where Scooter acquires Big Machine, she also finds out about this the exact same time that the entire world does. So not only is she super thrown off, she's also super pissed off because a super creepy dude that she doesn't like and literally tried to destroy her career is now the owner of all of her masters, which are her albums. Now, a lot of people were super confused about this, but this heavily affected how her music was streamed, the revenue, and if she could perform any of her own music. So this was stressful because literally the entire past 13 years of her hard work, determination, song lyrics, music videos, performances, it was all affected the stream of her revenue. November of 2019, she comes out on Twitter stating that Scooter is holding all of her rights to performing any of her songs before the Lover album. So he is not only threatening her with this, but he is also just holding her from her own music that she has literally worked so hard for. And this is again why she kind of plays off the Man music video like it is the biggest like feminist anthem of the year. Literally, she did absolutely amazing with portraying it. And it was a huge slap in the face to him because he's literally trying to control her music just because he got access to the Big Machine records. As far as the most recent drama, we all thought that the Kanye drama was over. Nay. March 20th of this year, 2020, the unedited phone clips are leaked to the entire world, which proves that Kim and Kanye edited the phone calls and were lying about the case the entire time, which means that Taylor never lied, she was never asked approval, and she wasn't lying. Like, the entire narrative that she was a snake and that she was lying about it, this was all false, and Kim and Kanye look like actual idiots. So they have milked that cow. She very quickly addresses this on her Instagram stories, I believe. Yes, on the March 23rd, literally 3 days later, she goes onto her Instagram stories and posts like a tiny clip and was like, basically like, I've been saying this literally for the past 4 years. These people have tried to destroy my fans, me and my family for the last 4 years. She drops a link for the coronavirus relief in her Instagram stories and carries on like a mature woman does. Keep in mind, Kim Kardashian is 34 years old. She has 4 children and she's still stuck on this. Taylor is 4 years younger than Kim and literally has double the maturity that she will ever have. So though this was frustrating with Scooter Braun, she still does not own any of her current records except for the Lover album, which is very frustrating. Like, we don't know what to do. I did not really know like where this kind of stood, but apparently she still doesn't own any of her records. That was pretty much it for this video. I know that that was a ton of information and you're probably confused as to why I have blue and pink eyeshadow on. I did a Lover inspired look. I know it's not the absolute best. I did a tiny little heart right there because Lover. I don't know. I just thought that that was a good idea. and it was a little bit way for me to be creative during this time because I haven't done any substantial makeup in over a month. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys would like to see any other kind of commentary videos or slash opinions, please let me know and put them in the comments down below, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, feel free to like this video and subscribe, and I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.